Baptist. Corvallo. Casio.
Yes.
Montero.
Yes.
Nera.
Abstain.
Pereira.
Yes.
Trujillo.
Yes.
Amin.
Yes.
That concludes the agenda.
Citizen may address the board. At this time, the microphones are open for public comments to those who have signed in prior to the session. I shall call individuals to the microphone based on the order of the signee. Each statement made by a participant should be limited to 3 minutes in duration. The total time of public comment should be limited to 60 minutes. No individual is able to yell their time to another individual. All statements should be directed to the proceeding officer. No participant may address or question the board members individually. The following rules for public participation shall apply. Time limits will be strictly enforced. No personal attacks on individuals. No vulgar or indecent languages. A person may address the board no more than once during a single meeting. A speaker should refrain from naming individuals. Comments or questions posed during public participation will not be debated. As a reminder, this is a meeting of the board in public, not a meeting of the public. So the first person in the list is Carol Casio.
Good evening, everybody. Carol Casio, Shelley Avenue, Elizabeth. I've been here for 4 hours. First time not as a board member, but you gave me time to reflect and meditate and observe what's going on here. I came here on behalf of some of the people that have been addressing me in the community on the issue of the flag, the United States flag. I'm not going to address Ms. Amin personally because I take homage to the fact that as a taxpayer, I'm paying money to have a lawyer sit next to her during these meetings. I'm sorry. We have a capable board lawyer and there's no call for this. And I'd like to know whether he's being paid from the time that I came in or from the time that the meeting actually started. I know we're not supposed to address a certain board member, but I just want to make a comment that Mr. Montero and I go way back. I went back as far as the gunite, and that was my first board meeting, Mr. Montero. And congratulations, I didn't know you were married at this point. But, like I said, and you know, it's God's will. The seat that I've been sitting in for 4 hours, if you look up in that window, you see the American flag flying due to the breeze outside. So I think that's an indication that, yes, I should be here. I'm still very active in the community. I sit on a board for a Catholic school. I'm on the Salvation Army board. And just this Tuesday night, I'm a member of UNICO. I just was elected vice president. It's an Italian organization. I'm very proud to be an Italian American. As I know, everybody here is proud of their heritage. I know Amin is proud to be Colombian, but she was elected to the Board of Education of the United States of America. We should not have the Colombian flag at any time holding precedent over the flag of the United States. These veterans and your wives that have addressed me have seen the banners with this, and I implore you, and I know you can't answer me, but please make sure that this is rectified and that doesn't happen. Like I said, I understand that you know, are a native of Colombia and that's your country, but you're here to represent the United States of America. Tuesday night at the meeting, I had the pleasure of meeting 2 women from another district. We have different districts in UNICO. And one of them asked me if I could go today to help them. They were at Picatinny Arsenal to help the women vets transfer themselves back into society because they have such society anxiety, they can't have the men help them. Another thing is the 4th of July is rapidly approaching. With the 4th of July, I implore everybody around here, yeah, we like fireworks, but that ensures more emotions into these veterans. You know, like I hear them right in my own neighborhood, and it's horrible to think of it. So just think about what you're doing to these veterans with the flags. One last thing is that, like I said, I can't address Mr. Min as president because in my estimation, Charlene, you should have been president. And you would have been the first African-American president to sit on the Board of Education. Thank you.
Ma'am, I'd also like to correct you on the one point. Our law firm does not charge the school district at all for any of the time that I spend here at the meeting. So from the time that we've started, that we've been through this, we do not charge the school district for the time for the lawyer to sit here at the meeting. So I just wanted to clarify the record.
So you're sitting here free of charge?
What are all those checks for?
Next person is Joe De Souza.
What are all those checks for? Yes.
Honorable board members of the Elizabeth Public School, and I want to say honorable board members of the Elizabeth Family School. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share a subject that is important and relevant as a part of a higher education that could be implemented as part of the Elizabeth Public School educational system. We are in nature, both spiritual and physical. There are 10 members in my family, and I'm married with 8 children, and all of them attend the Elizabeth Public School. I realize that spiritual values should be taught in the family. Since the school is an extension of a family, it would be beneficial for these spiritual values to be taught in our school as well. For many of us, the spiritual aspect in us is unclear. So we tend to disagree with one another about this valuable subject. One way we should approach this education must be done logically and scientifically. We are living in a technological world. For this reason, we need clarity about spiritual values. For example, the human families are made up of a man and a woman. Our reproductive organs are designed as convex for the man and concave for the woman in the creation of children, producing a beautiful family as intended by God, our Creator. God is the mastermind who had a blueprint, a purpose, and a pure system that He designed in the creation of a family. The mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the animal kingdom all exist in a pure system as male and female. Just like if we look at electrical, we can see there's a positive and negative electrical system. That's like a pure system. And there's more that could be said about that. Our eyes are incredible. The eyes are formed to be protected from the sun. We have eyelids to assure that dust in the air does not damage the eyes. Steam and other heat radiation could dry and damage our eyes. For this reason, we blink so that the eyes stay moist. I really believe that our children need to learn these universal principles or universal law in order to grow healthy, respectfully, and peacefully. These ideals was actually generated from the founder of the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, the Reverend Dr. Sung Myung Moon. Thank you.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education, business managers, superintendent of schools, citizens of the City of Elizabeth. I've been a Latin teacher for 15 years and a business service manager for 12 years, teaching Latin 1 through AP Advanced Placement Latin. When I came here, I had lofty aspirations for building a great Latin program with 2 other Latin teaching colleagues. I wanted to build a program where students would compete at the Montclair State University Challenge, the William Patterson Poetry Contest, and the National Latin Exam. In doing so, I prepared lessons addressing multiple skills, including skills that would help students perform well on the SAT test. In doing so, in January of this year, I spent $180 of my own money to purchase the charter for Elizabeth High School to be part of the Latin Honor Society and the certificates for higher achieving students. Little did I realize on those days, or in the contentious May 12 meeting that I attended, where people were trying to ask responsible questions, there was such a large number of people and dedicated teachers like myself that were going to be let go despite an enrollment increase. I would like to use an analogy. When you eat at a heavily advertised restaurant and suddenly the food becomes repulsive to your palate, would you go back to the restaurant because of the flashy advertisement, or do you try to find another option? May that if you take the skills and the rigorous content out of your curriculum, open door for charter schools? Will you ask Source for Teachers Substitute Service to fill these requirements or these classes with their people? I would like to thank you though for allowing me to teach verbal skills in the Latin language to the 175 students that I had this year in 6 classes. From this point on, I hope that you, as I have, keep the greatest concern in your hearts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, Patricia, adelante.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Mrs. Jugelmeyer. As of right now, board policy states that students need 160 credits to graduate from our high school. If I do the math correctly, there are 10 periods a day. Subtract 1 for lunch, you have 9 periods. Each course the students take is worth 5 credits. That means that each student takes 45 credits a year. In 4 years and 45 credits a year, that works out to 180 credits that each student earns after 4 years in high school. 180 does not equal 160. Now, why in the world would the board make a policy that states you need 160 to graduate and then set up a schedule that requires students to take 180 credits within 4 years? Furthermore, these additional 20 credits are using dollars in the budget to hire teachers to basically fill time for students. Question number 1, can a student graduate with only 160 credits? If so, does that mean the students don't need to attend or basically fail 4 classes? Question number 2, how come the students at Upper Academy can go home early? They're allowed to go home, I believe after 8th period. Does this smack of discrimination or prejudice? Do we think only the kids at Upper are smart enough to miss 2 classes every day? Question 3, should a board policy have been established for that? Were parents officially informed of this? Question 4, why all of a sudden are we allowing students to leave school early? As of right now, and I had no idea that that young lady was going to speak before me, as of right now, 3 Latin teachers have been ripped. These teachers were assigned to Upper and Lower Academy. Now there are at least 400 kids. 6 classes, 20, 25 kids in a class. 400 students who need something to do during that period that used to be Latin. The current sophomores at Upper Academy were told they would also be allowed to leave early next year. However, that decision was reversed as of right now. Do you further know that athletes sometimes leave school during 7th and 8th period so they can go to away games? This is allowed and is called the V code in the attendance program. So the 10-year period puts stress on the athletes because they may miss many classes due to away game or meets. Also, right now, the principal from the Lower Academy has been assigned to school 29. Why? All kids there are many kids who are being dropped off at 6:30 at some of the high schools because we need to pick them up so early. I have also heard from a few schools about how dissatisfied they are with the quality of the subs being supplied by Source for Teachers. I've had conversations with a few staff members who have stated that many of the subs do not speak English.
Thank you, Mr. Galán. Christina Morera is the next person.
Okay, before I address what I came here to address, I would just like to say, it seems like it's becoming a pattern for meetings to get rescheduled. Last month's meeting was rescheduled. This month's meeting was supposed to be on Thursday, then it was Monday. And I find it a bit offensive for a board member to sit here and say that he was fearing for his safety because it was raining. I feared for my safety also, but I made it here, as did many. And while that would preclude you from coming, I don't understand what happened to the other 4 members, because the other 4 were here. So I think we are owed an explanation as to first why the Thursday meeting was rescheduled, and then why 5 members did not show up. I would also like to address what happened at the last board meeting in reference to the stadium-sized Colombian flag. I also did not know that that lady was going to talk about it, was put up in this room. I was here when some men were hanging it up. When I saw it, the sheer size of it, I approached the board members, specifically Mr. Rodriguez and Ms. Amin. And she said, I said that that needed to come down. They can't put that here, as I pointed to the Colombian flag. Mr. Rodriguez looked at Ms. Amin so she could respond, and she said, "What?" I said, "That, the Colombian flag." She said they can put that up. Nothing was done. I, Christina Morera, am an American. I was born in this country. Men and women have died to protect our flag and what it stands for. I am also of Portuguese descent, and I am very proud of my heritage. So I display my pride with my American and Portuguese flags in front of my house and at other events. We should all be proud and honor our heritage, never forgetting or disrespecting the country we live in. That was exactly what was done and allowed to happen here. I would like to inform the board president and all members of some of the U.S. flag etiquettes and protocols. The flag must be treated with respect and dignity at all times. No flag on display with the U.S. flag should be larger or taller than the U.S. flag. All flags used for an event should be the same size. No flag should overshadow the American flag in any way. This was the case that day. I understand that there are board rules for displaying items in this room, that signs or place cards are allowed in the last row or against the side walls, but I am sure that things that are disrespectful, as was the case, or things that are offensive or vulgar should not be allowed or condoned. I hope this will not be allowed to happen in the future and that our board president would take action. Thank you.
Next person, Maria Lorenz.
Good evening. Another year has passed, and I want to recap all of the real issues that this board has yet to address. Our children are educated in deplorable conditions. No air conditioning, older schools are falling apart and are not ADA compliant, and they're also being transported in buses with no AC, and this is a concern being as it's now getting hot. Workshops and meetings of PTO or PTA are done when parents are unable to attend. Little distribution material has been given as well. As an example, the autism workshop was announced on a Friday robocall for a Monday 1 p.m. workshop. Thank you for the notice. We were defrauded by this board during the budget when you posted that 7 special ed teachers would be hired when in fact you only hired 1. Please, Ms. Hugelmeyer, what happened to the other 6 teachers? See, I do old school math and not Common Core, so I'm not sure how you arrived at a different number than I. Parents' rights and special needs are violated. There are no invitations to meetings or sent. Parent input is not considered into the IEP of children. There's disparate testing from your quote-unquote qualified staff. Parents are guided towards extended school year programs only since the booklet for summer programs has not even been distributed to parents with special needs, and violation of privacy by discussing children with third party has existed within your special ed departments. The Board of Education, however, has managed to attain a second lunch scandal and subject to state monitoring, has failed to meet state targets, I'll remind you again, for 10 years. I'm not sure if we were successful this year. We managed to intimidate parents, censor comments, and block parents from posting to the Facebook page, and allow the misuse of the Elizabeth Public Schools webpage and letterhead for discussion of lawsuits. Congratulations to Mr. Montero. I see you have a court hearing on July 27th on this very topic, and the judge has granted emergent relief, just to correct you. You didn't win assembly, but I guess this is your consolation prize. In addition, you have also managed to land yourself another ethics complaint. I congratulate you on that. You are indeed a very busy man. Parents have been insulted, as per Mr. Trujillo so eloquently stated, that he is grateful that his children were born healthy, which is a total slap in the face, in addition to feeble attempts to gain sympathy and empathy by stating that his child was almost born with Down syndrome, all the while showing apathy because I have yet to see him at a CPAC meeting to hear concerns. Let us not forget, after all, his children are healthy. Ms. Domingue disregards her duty to address parents' concern and responds via her attorney, as it is her prerogative. I find this completely disrespectful. I am a taxpayer, and again, I am a mother of 2 special needs children in this district. And I also think that because I rushed out of work to come here and not have a meeting, just because everybody feared for their safety, you were all in the same car, I don't care. I was here to sign in, to have my speech heard.
James Dowie, and you came from New York.
You know, bear with me, I'm 6'5". Good evening. I just want to, before I come in with my presentation, I just want to make it abundantly clear, because I know how you guys put a spin on things. No one here said anything anti-Colombian, that they were opposed to Colombian. So I want to make that abundantly clear, because as a matter of fact, my colleague Wendy, she's from Colombia, because I know how you guys do after this meeting is over, or you're probably on Twitter right now, saying the same things as anti-Colombian. So I want to make that abundantly clear. Now, former school board commissioner, Ms. Casio, who was a good school board commissioner according to my standards, mentioned something about, and please, she inquired about how much were you getting paid. Okay, Grant, you may not have been getting paid, but your law firm alone, how much it bolts this district, and how much you guys inflate legal fees, it's appalling. It's really appalling, okay? And then Ms. Amin, with all due respect, okay, you voted in the reorganization meeting, you voted for yourself as president. So one will perceive you as you possessing an ability to lead this district forward. However, in turn, you have to have this attorney sit there and hold your hand and advise you to what to say and what not to say. I don't think that you're familiar with Robert's Rules of Order, parliamentary procedure, or the Sunshine Law. And this is unprecedented that in this Elizabeth School District, we're the only school district that has an attorney sitting next to the president advising her what to say and what not to say. That's appalling. And then you want to look and you see, oh, no, you're going to tell the commissioner, oh, I'm not getting paid. But how much does your firm bill the district every year? Let's talk about that. And Mr. Kennedy, next time, I'm going to say this in closing, when you deny me of my Oprah, put it in writing. Explain to me what's the reason why you're denying me, and give me a written explanation, okay? Because I'm going to challenge you next time. Thank you.
Lorenz.
Probably could have waited 4 hours.
That's straight.
The president requests a motion to adjourn the public portion of the meeting and go into private session to consider matters absent under Open Public Meeting Act, specifically for the superintendent evaluation, superintendent of the school's annual performance report, board member self-evaluation, and school board professional development improvement plan. And it comes to closed session, yes. Motion moved by Commissioner Morera, second by Commissioner Monteiro. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Battles. Cavallo. Casio. Morera.
Yes.
Pereira. Yes. Trujillo. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Thank you for calling.